This is Rajshekhar and welcome to the presentation of Lustre file system. The topics we are going to discuss here are Lustre interaction, Lustre networking, Lustre components, failover in Lustre, hands-on Lustre, administering Lustre, Lustre and the future. Coming to Lustre interaction, Lustre, the name Lustre has been derived from Linux plus cluster, and it is a storage architecture for clusters. Lustre scalability we are going to discuss. A Lustre file system can be scaled up or down with respect to the number of client nodes, disk storage and bandwidth. So scalability is completely depend on available disk storage, network bandwidth and the processing power of the servers in the system. Coming to high availability, Lustre offers active-active failover using shared storage partitions for OSS targets, that is OSTs, and active-passive failover using a shared storage partition for MDS targets, that is MDTs. And Lustre can work with a variety of high availability managers to allow automated failover and has no single point of failure. Coming to security, in Lustre an option is available to have TCP connections only from privileged ports. Group membership handling is server based in Lustre file system. And byte granular file and fine-grained metadata locking option is any clients can operate on the same file and directory concurrently. Lustre distributed lock manager, that is DLM, ensures that files are coherent between all the clients in the file system and the servers. Coming to network data integrity protection, a checksum of all data sent from the client to the OSS protects against corruption during data transfer. Coming to NFS and CIFS export, Lustre files can be re-exported using NFS or CIFS, that is via Samba, enabling them to be shared within a non-Linux client. And OS solution is dealing with the capacity of the Lustre file system and aggregate cluster bandwidth can be increased without interrupting any operations by adding a new OSS with OSTs to the cluster. And Lustre is an open source and it is licensed under the GPL 2.0 for the use with Linux. This is all about the introduction of Lustre file system. Coming to Lustre networking, that is LNet. LNet is a custom networking application programming interface that provides the communication infrastructure that handles metadata and the file input-output data for the Lustre file system servers and clients. And LNet supports many commonly used network types such as InfiniBand and IP networks. And the key features of Lustre networking are RDMA, that is remote direct memory access. And it is a technology that allows computers in the network to exchange data in main memory without involving the processor, cache or operating system of other computers. And RDMA will be supported when the networks such as InfiniBand or MIDINET MX used to configure the Lustre file system. And another key feature of Lustre networking is support for many commonly used network types such as InfiniBand and TCP/IP as earlier discussed. And the high availability and recovery features enabling transparent recovery in conjunction with failover servers. And simultaneous availability of multiple network types with routing between them. These are the features of Lustre networking. And supported network types are InfiniBand, TCP, CoreSister, MIDINET MX, Rapid Array, Quadrix LAN. These are the supported network types for the Lustre file system, to configure Lustre file system. And coming to Lustre components, basically an installation of the Lustre software includes a management server and one or more Lustre file systems interconnected with Lustre networking. The first thing is management server. The management server stores configuration information for all the Lustre file systems in the cluster and provides this information to other Lustre components. Each Lustre target contacts the management server to provide information and Lustre clients contact the management server to retrieve information. In it is preferable that management server have its own storage space so that it can be managed independently. But we can co-locate share storage space with MGS. But the preferable is management server have its own storage space. And Lustre file system components are metadata server, metadata target, object storage servers, object storage target, and clients. Coming to metadata server, the metadata server makes metadata stored in one or more metadata targets available to Lustre clients. And each metadata server manages the names and directories in the Lustre file system or systems and provides network request handling for one or more local entities, that is metadata targets. Coming to metadata target, the metadata target stores metadata such as file names, directories, permissions, and file layout on storage attached to an MDS, that is metadata server. Each file system has one metadata target, and metadata target on a shared storage target can be available to multiple metadata servers, but only one can access it at a time. In failure situation, if an active metadata server fails, a standby metadata server can serve the metadata target and make it available to clients. This is about metadata target. And object storage servers provides file input-output service and network request handling for one or more local object storage targets. Typically, an object storage server serves between 2 and 8 OSTs up to 16 GPV each. Typical configuration is an metadata target on a dedicated node, 2 or more object storage targets on each OSS node, and a client on each of the large number of compute nodes. And object storage target will be having the user file data and in one or more objects. User file data generally is stored in object storage target in one or more objects. Each object on a separate object storage target in a Lustre file system. The number of objects per file is configurable by the user and can be tuned to optimize the performance for a given workload. And Lustre clients are computational, maybe virtualization or desktop nodes that are running Lustre client software and allowing them to mount the Lustre file system. The Lustre client software provides an interface between the Linux virtual file system and the Lustre servers. This is about Lustre components. We can see in a picture that we have shared storage of different storage of management servers and metadata servers, and we have here Lustre routers to connect object storage servers, clients, and management servers and metadata servers. And we have failover ability is also there. Here, if one OSS fails, another OSS will take care of the transactions, and if one hard disk fails, two OSS will be writing on the same hard disk. Now coming to failover in Lustre, generally we say a computer system is highly available when the services it provides are available with minimal downtime. When a primary server fails or is unavailable, a standby server can be switched into its place to run applications and associated resources. This process called failover should be automatic and in most cases completely application transparent. So this process called failover should be automatic. And Lustre does not provide redundancy for data. It depends exclusively on object storage or on redundancy of storage devices. The backing OST storage should be RAID 5 or preferably RAID 6 storage, and the backing of metadata target should be RAID 1 or RAID 0+1. For failover capabilities, generally to establish a highly available Lustre file system, power management software or hardware and high availability software are used to provide failover capabilities like resource fencing. Resource fencing is it protects physical storage from simultaneous access by two nodes. resource management. It starts and stops the cluster resources as a part of failover, maintains the cluster state and carries out other resources. And health monitoring. Health monitoring verifies the availability of hardware and network resources and responds to health indications provided by Luster. Types of failover configurations. Generally, nodes in cluster can be configured for failover in several ways. The two ways are active passive and active active. Active passive is in this configuration, the active node provides resources and serves data, while the passive node is usually standing by idle. If the active node fails, the passive node takes over and becomes active. In active-active configuration, both nodes are active, each providing a subset of resources. In case of failure, the second node takes over resources from the failed node. And failure functionality Luster is when a client attempts to do input-output operations to a failed Luster agent, it continues to try until it receives an answer from any of the configured failover nodes for the Luster agent. Luster can be configured to provide metadata target or object storage target failover. For metadata target failover, two metadata servers are configured to serve the same metadata target. In this configuration, only one metadata server node can serve an metadata target at a time. For object storage target failover, multiple object storage service nodes are configured to be able to serve the same object storage target, but only one object storage server node can serve the OS object storage target at a time. An object storage target can be moved between object storage server nodes that have access to the same storage using umount commands. Luster failover functionality it's been provided only at file system level. For node failure or part failure, we must go for a third party tool because it will be at only file system level. Coming to MDT, that is metadata target failover configuration. Two metadata servers should be configured as an active passive failover pair. We should configure in such a way that both nodes must have access to shared storage for the metadata targets and the management server. If primary metadata server fails, the secondary passive, that is the secondary passive metadata server takes over these resources and servers and serves the metadata targets and the management server. For OST failover configuration, it should be configured as active-active. And OSTs are usually configured in a load balanced failover configuration. A failover cluster is built from two object storage servers and must have shared disks and must have shared RAID level configurations. In this mode, if one object storage server fails, the other object storage server takes over all of the failed object storage targets. Data on the object storage target is written synchronously and the clients replay transactions that were in progress and uncommitted to disk before the OST failure. Coming to Luster installation, first we'll see the setting up the Luster file system hardware. To install a Luster for a demonstration environment, we need to have the CPU, 1 CPU, 1 GB RAM and 18 GB primary hard disk because you need to configure one shared management server and MDS and one combined management server and MDT and one OST, one separate OST. So to install Luster software, first we need to install the modified E2FS procs packages. That is E2FS program is a set of utilities for maintaining the ext2, ext3, ext4 file systems, and then we need to download and install the Luster server packages. for OSS and MDS, then client packages. And we need to disable SC Linux and IP tables. We need to disable SC Linux and IP tables. Then we need to configure Lustre networking. For Lustre networking, we need to create a file called /etc/modprob.d/lustre.conf. In that we need to type a line as options space lnet space networks equal to TCP0 in brackets with 0 since we are using Ethernet. Or else we can put like IBIN 0 for InfiniBand. Then we can create a combined management server and metadata target file system on a block device. And then we need to add a line to /etc and fstab for permanently mounting mount point. And for OSS server also we need to install the Lustre server packages, and we need to download and install the Lustre server packages, and we need to disable SC Linux and IP tables, and we need to create a Lustre networking by adding line in lustre.conf as options space lnet space networks equal to TCP0 and in brackets e0. And we need to add a line to /etc and fstab for permanent mount point. And for client, there is no need to modify the kernel since we are just mounting the Lustre file system on it. So download and install the Lustre client package and mount it. Since we are modifying the kernel in management server, metadata server and object storage server to configure the Lustre file system. In management metadata server and in the object storage server, we need to install the Lustre kernel packages, and we need to reboot the system so that the kernel should be modified to suit for the Lustre file system. But in client there is no need to modify the kernel since we are just mounting the Lustre file system. Coming to administration of Lustre, we can see Lustre monitoring, Lustre operations and Lustre maintenance. For Lustre monitoring, we have a Python based tool called Lustre monitoring tool. It provides a top command like output on server side nodes like MDS, that is my metadata server, and object storage server and portal routers on one or more Lustre file systems to analyze the processes running on those servers and nodes. We have CollectL is another tool that can be used to monitor Lustre. We can run CollectL on a Lustre system that has any combination of MDSs, OSTs and clients. Coming to Lustre operations, to start a Lustre, the startup order of Lustre components depends on whether you have combined management server or management server metadata server, or these components are separate. If you have combined management server and metadata target, the recommended startup order is object storage targets, then management server and the metadata target, then clients. If management server and MDT are separate, then the recommended startup order is first you need to start management server, then OSTs, then MDTs. That is the last you need to start metadata targets, and then clients. So to specifying failout and failover mode for object storage targets, Lustre uses two modes, failout and failover. To handle an object storage target that has become unreachable because it got failed, it's taken off the network and it should be unmounted, and we need to add a new OST. But in failout mode, Lustre clients immediately receive errors, EIOs, after the timeout instead of waiting for the object or the target to recover. In failover mode, Lustre clients wait for the object or the target to recover. So these are different, the main difference between failover mode and failover mode. In failover mode, the Lustre client will not wait for the OST to recover, and in failover mode, Lustre client will wait for the OST to recover. Coming to Lustre maintenance, find how many nodes are in the Lustre are there in Lustre file system. We can execute a command on management server as cat space /proc/fs/lustre/mgs and again /mgs in capitals and again /live/star. By executing this command, we can see the list of Lustre nodes which are running in a Lustre file system in Lustre installation. And to add a new OST to a Lustre file system, we can do the same command while we gave in formatting the OST, like mkfs.lustre space --fs name equal to spfs space --ost space --mgs node equal to mgs ip at tcp0 and space the mount point. Space device path, and we need to create a directory and we need to mount it on the directory by using mount-t lustre command. And Lustre in the future, the capacity of the Lustre is going to be highly increased. As we can see, exabytes of storage they are planning and trillions of files they are planning inside the Lustre file system, and many client clusters each with 1 lakh of clients they are going to plan in the future. Coming to performance, we can see terabytes of data per second of aggregate of input and output, and 1 lakh of aggregate metadata operations per second. And for references, we can follow the above link for step-by-step process to install Lustre file system. Thank you.